Hello, my little dears. Snuggle up close and let Grandma tell you a story. Are you all tucked in? Good. Let's begin. Once upon a time, nestled beside a great big forest, there lived a poor woodcutter. He had a small cottage, two children named Hansel and Gretel, and a wife who was their stepmother. Times were very hard, and often their tummies would rumble because there wasn't enough food to go around. One quiet evening, as Hansel and Gretel lay in their beds, they overheard their stepmother whispering to their father. "There isn't enough for all of us," she said with a heavy sigh. "Tomorrow we must take the children deep into the forest and leave them." Little Gretel's eyes filled with tears, and she began to cry softly into her pillow, but her brave brother Hansel took her hand and squeezed it gently. "Don't you worry, little sister," he whispered. "Back, I'll find a way to bring us home." Later that night, when the house was still and everyone was fast asleep, Hansel tiptoed outside. The moon was big and bright, like a silver coin in the sky. He knelt down and filled his pockets with small, smooth white pebbles that shone beautifully in the moonlight. He knew just what to do. The next morning, the air was crisp and cool. The stepmother woke them early, her face grim. "Come, children," she said, "we are going into the forest." As they walked, Hansel, who was trailing behind, secretly dropped the shiny white stones from his pocket, one by one, creating a trail only he could see. They walked deeper and deeper into the woods, where the trees grew so thick that the sunlight could barely peek through. After a long while, their parents told them to rest by a small fire. "We're going to gather more wood," their father said, his voice full of sadness. "We'll be back for you soon." But as the sun began to set and the shadows grew long, they didn't return. Gretel started to sob, her small body trembling with fear. "Don't be afraid," Hansel said, putting a comforting arm around her. "Look." He pointed up at the sky. The moon had risen, casting its gentle light upon the forest floor. And there, shining like tiny stars, were the white pebbles he had dropped. They followed the glowing path of stones all the way back through the dark woods, right to the door of their own little cottage. Their father's face lit up with joy. When he saw them, hugging them tightly, he had been worried sick. But their stepmother was not happy at all. She just scowled and sent them straight to bed. It wasn't long before the last bit of food in the cottage was gone. Once again, hunger gnawed at their bellies. That night, Hansel heard the same dreaded whispers. He tried to sneak out to gather more pebbles, but this time the door was locked tight. He was trapped inside, his heart sank, but he didn't give up. The next morning, when their stepmother gave them each a small piece of bread for their journey, Hansel had an idea. He broke his bread into tiny pieces and kept them hidden in his pocket. As they were led even deeper into the forest this time, he carefully dropped the breadcrumbs behind him, hoping they would lead him home again. But oh dear, Hansel didn't know about all the hungry little birds that lived in the forest. When the time came to find their way back, the trail of breadcrumbs was gone. The birds had eaten every last one. "Oh no," cried Gretel, her voice filled with despair. "We're lost. We'll never find our way home." Hansel hugged his sister tightly, trying to be brave for both of them. "We'll be fine, Gretel," he promised, though his own heart was pounding with fear. "I'll take care of you. We'll stick together." They wandered for what felt like forever, their feet aching and their stomachs empty. They walked for 3 whole days, until they were so tired they could barely take another step. Just when they thought they couldn't go on, they stumbled into a clearing and saw the most amazing sight they had ever laid eyes on. It was a little cottage, but not just any cottage. It was made entirely of sweets. The walls were made of gingerbread, the roof was covered in chocolate tiles, and the windows were clear, sparkling sugar glass. It smelled of cinnamon and vanilla and all things wonderful. Hansel's eyes widened and he laughed. "Gretel, look, it's a candy house. Let's have a little nibble." He broke off a piece of the gingerbread wall, and Gretel licked a sugar window pane. It was delicious. As they were happily munching away, a soft, creaky voice called out from inside the cottage, "Nibble, nibble, little mouse, who's that nibbling at my house?" The cottage door swung open, and a very old woman with a sweet, kind smile appeared. "Oh, come in, my dears," she said in a sugary voice. "You must be so hungry and tired. Come inside and rest." She seemed so friendly, but little did they know, this old woman was actually a wicked witch, and she had built her candy house for one reason: to lure children in and trap them. Once inside, the kind old woman's face changed. Her sweet smile twisted into a wicked grin. She grabbed poor Hansel and locked him in a small cage. Then she turned to Gretel. "You will cook for your brother," the witch cackled. "Fatten him up. When he's nice and plump, I'm going to eat him for my dinner." Every day, Gretel had to cook delicious meals for Hansel, her heart breaking with every stir of the pot. And every morning the witch, whose eyesight was very poor, would hobble over to the cage and say, "Stick out your finger, boy. Let me feel if you're fat enough yet." But clever Hansel had found a little chicken bone in his cage. So instead of his finger, he would hold out the thin bone for the witch to feel. Still too skinny. She would grumble, growing more and more impatient each day. Finally, one morning, the witch couldn't wait any longer. "Enough of this," she shrieked. "Fat or thin, I'll cook him today." She shoved Gretel toward a giant oven with flames roaring inside. "Go on, girl. Climb in and see if the oven is hot enough." But Gretel was just as clever as her brother. She pretended to be confused. "Oh, I don't know how," she said innocently. "It's such a big oven. Can you show me how to check?" The grumpy witch huffed. "Useless child," she muttered, and she leaned far inside the oven to show Gretel what to do. In that very instant, Gretel gave the witch a mighty push from behind. She slammed the heavy iron door shut and bolted it tight. The witch screamed and howled, and then all was quiet. Gretel rushed to the cage and quickly unlocked it, freeing her brother. "Hansel, we're safe," she cried, and they hugged each other tightly. With the witch gone, they decided to explore the strange little cottage. And what do you think they found? Chests overflowing with sparkling jewels, glimmering gold coins, and strings of beautiful pearls. They had never seen such riches. They filled their pockets until they couldn't hold any more. Now, how would they get home? As they stepped outside, a little white bird began to sing a lovely song, as if calling to them. It flew a little way ahead, looked back, and chirped again. They decided to follow the friendly bird, who led them through winding paths and out of the darkest parts of the forest. Soon the woods began to look familiar, and in the distance, they saw their little cottage. Their father was outside, and when he saw them, he ran to them with tears of joy streaming down his face. He told them their cruel stepmother had passed away while they were gone. They were finally safe, and with the witch's treasure, they would never be poor or hungry again. From that day on, the three of them lived happily together, always remembering how their love, courage, and cleverness helped them find their way home, even from the darkest of places. And that, my sweet one, is the end of our story. Close your eyes now and dream of candy houses and brave adventures. Sleep tight. If you enjoyed our story time, don't forget to tell your parents to follow our channel for more tales. Good night.